What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, bringing you guys another video. Today we're going to do something completely different. Something I have never done before. But today, I want to start pumping out a lot of YouTube content. And I want to start putting out ideas and doing different things and trying different things. Because at the end of the day, this channel is everything that I want it to be. It's whatever I want to do, we do it. And so today we are going to judge random strangers on the internet and determine whether or not they are the asshole. Yes, we are going to do a Reddit video. We're going to be looking at Am I the Asshole? So let's get into it. Let's see. Here we go. I already have it all set up. And we're going to judge people. So we're going to read the stories and then determine whether or not I think they're the asshole or whether they could have improved the situation. Who knows? So, let's read. Am I the asshole for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of his house, or out of our house? Alright, let's read it. My brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home shortly after his divorce, 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe, 16, and she and her cousins are close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy, none. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on, makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot, and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls, and this is typical teenage girls' behavior. I completely disagreed. The last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAC makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out of the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it, and I straight up told him. He said, "My daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff," he said. Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart, and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this deficit in Zoe's personality, trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this is between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters. then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of our house. She got mad. I was implying we kicked them out, and said her family will hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move in, which is something her own family refused to do. So she should start with shaming / blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces / granddaughters in, if it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very upset over this. Wow. That is a lot of information. First of all, let's get it straight out of the bat. Not the asshole at all. Not the asshole at all. Okay. There was a lot of problems with this story. None of which is the poster's issues. Okay. First of all, I'm a girl. Okay, I have been through my teen years. I have never felt it my obligation, my right, my urge, my whatever, to take someone else's stuff without their permission. Period. Okay? I mean, if it's siblings, that's one thing. Because siblings, yeah, sometimes siblings borrow things. And, there is some degree of acceptability with that. But expensive items that someone paid themselves for, no matter what age they are, if they paid it out of their pocket, it is their item. Okay? And no one has the right to that, with very few exceptions. If I spent all of my money on this one thing that I was saving up for, that thing is mine. No one can take that away from me. And if someone has the audacity to imply that they do, because they're family or because they're friends or because whatever, that's not okay. You can ask, hey, I saw you bought this thing. Could I try and use it? Then they can say, no, I don't feel comfortable sharing this with you. I'm sorry. Or they can say, yeah, sure. Maybe you could try on a few shades. Or maybe they could set boundaries. Like, oh, yeah, you can use it. Just don't mix the colors in. I want to preserve it in its form. It's very expensive. And kind of have that discussion. Also, what I notice is that also what I notice is that Sloane and Olivia are both older than Zoe. Which is weird because they should be more mature than Zoe. But they are clearly not, because they keep taking things, they never ask for permission, and it seems that Olivia and Sloane have kind of grown up on maybe an entitled lifestyle, where they assume that anything that they can take is theirs. And maybe Sammy, the brother-in-law, or I suppose their father, didn't really enforce boundaries on them and say, like, look, people's possessions are their own. You can't just take things, you have to ask for permission. I was raised to always ask for permission. You never assume that you can just use something, especially if it's not yours, especially if it's not your immediate family's. And you never barge into someone's room that, like that. And someone's room is their private spot. whether if they invite you in, that's one thing. If you knock, that's another thing. But if you just walk in and then take things and just don't even like say something or when they ask you not to do that, you just completely disrespect their request, that's not okay at all. It's not okay for anyone to really do. It's one thing if maybe they're looking for something that is theirs. Maybe something got mixed up. Maybe there's that happens. Clothes get mixed up sometimes, and sometimes they're looking in your drawers for the thing that is missing. But if you're just taking things that aren't yours, that's not. It doesn't even matter what the price is on that. That's just not okay. It's like, sure, I could have bought I don't know, a box of cookies from the grocery store, and I could be intending it for myself, and if someone takes that and just eats it without even asking for permission, that's weird. That's wrong. It doesn't matter what price it was. It doesn't matter how expensive or whether you think they should have it or not. Regardless, it's not yours. You have to ask for permission. And if you don't get that permission, you can't just touch things. You can't just take it for yourself. I would be so annoyed, and I get annoyed in video games when this happens, because in The Sims 4, sometimes the neighbors, they tend to when during the greeting session, they just walk in and they immediately go to the computer. If that was my house, I would be so annoyed, because you just don't touch other people's belongings, computers, especially if it's an expensive item. It's like going to someone's house and immediately pawing at their Chinaware. You don't do that. It's like if you were to go into someone's house during a dinner party or something, and you immediately went to the cabinets and opened up the precious, where the precious crystals are. It's you don't do that. That's so rude. That's so disrespectful. And you could break something, the makeup kit. And it doesn't matter what price it is. It matters that is a boundary that you shouldn't be crossing unless you have the specific permission. And you also, they're also there. You don't just take something without that person being there. I mean, maybe if you're borrowing something, hey, you call them, hey, I noticed you had this thing, can I use it? They could say no. They should say, oh yeah, sure, that's no issue. But asking permission is an important step to borrowing things. If they say no, you don't get to use it. You say, okay, yeah, sure, there's no issue. Then they've set that boundary, they've let you use this item, and now you can use that. But you don't get to determine that by yourself. You don't get to just assume that you can use these things, especially when they're not your immediate family. And even that, even if they are your immediate family, there are those boundaries. There are those privacy, especially since they're 18 and 16. We're not talking about a 6-year-old. We're not talking about a kid that doesn't know any better. Or doesn't, oftentimes kids share items. Kids will share their toys. Kids will, swap clothes, whatever. But teenagers don't really do that. It's not really normal, actually. It really isn't normal. And I don't know why it's assumed that it's normal, that this is something that teenage girls do. Because it really isn't. Sure, I mean, you could borrow something that, maybe you borrow a couple bucks. Maybe you, borrow a DS, and you ask for that. You don't just take it. That's not typical teenage girl behavior. That's just being an asshole. And if that's normalized, I'm sorry. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be normalized. definitely should not be normal for someone to just take things that isn't theirs. That's a kleptomaniac. That's illegal. Again, asking for permission is completely different. Borrowing a shirt is completely different. And even then, you just ask, like, hey, I need something to wear for this date. Do you mind if I use your clothes? And normally those boundaries are already set anyways between friends because they're friends. But I would never let someone just come into my house and demand something that I own. No matter what it was. It could be a book. It could be my computer. These things aren't cheap. And they're also mine. And so that is a very important boundary to set. And so it's just so messed up that someone can just assume something is theirs and just take it. And, I don't have a lock on my door. I don't need one. Because I know that my family just doesn't come into my room and just take things. That doesn't happen. But if you have that problem, getting a lock isn't really that bad of an idea. If anything, it's more secure to do that. And the fact that they weren't happy about the daughter's right to privacy and having a lock, it's not just family that they have to protect themselves against, it's also other people. Maybe there's a break-in. If there's a break-in, you could have a lock on your door to make sure that your valuables are not taken. But the fact that they're demanding that it gets removed is horrible. And honestly, I would not remove it. Whether she came home or not, I wouldn't remove it. I would let her keep it. I would just let her have that boundary because, as long as you're not having a problem with it and you understand the boundaries that are set within the house, that's your business. If you let your daughter have a lock on her door, then she can keep it. There's no issue with that. As long as she's able to remember this is the key or whatever they use. I assume it's a key. That's okay. No, I don't see a problem with that. But that's my opinion. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Would you be okay if someone just went into your room and took something? And if you guys like this, I'll do more. I'll do more different subreddits, different things, and just give my opinion on the situation. If you have personal stories, I'd be interested in hearing that, and maybe we can discuss about that situation. I don't know. Whether you want to do that in the comments or... I don't really know. I don't... I do have a Discord, but I don't really use it. But either way, leave a like on this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch and Twitter. And subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. Bye.